Happening now, the number of COVID-19 cases here locally has increased. A look at the latest numbers next. Plus, an update on the continued effort to safely reopen businesses. Todd Tranum with the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce is scheduled to join us live next, talking about Phase 2 reopening and some important numbers that were released just today.
And we've had a few showers moving through the area this morning, but some severe thunderstorms are likely this afternoon. We'll break it all down next as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now on this Friday. I'm Justin Gould. This just in, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist says that starting next week, City Hall will be reopening on a limited basis. The mayor says additionally parking enforcement will resume next Tuesday. Sundquist says that enforcement tickets will be issued for parking meter violations only. At this time, no violations will be issued by parking enforcement for expired registration or inspections until the Department of Motor Vehicles reopens here. Parking garages will also resume normal operations. All city offices will be open to the public by appointment only and accept permits, applications, and payments, although the mayor encourages the community to continue to use those payment drop boxes and other payment methods. City parks continue to remain open except for park restrooms and playgrounds, which still are closed until further notice. Well, new cases of COVID-19 were reported in both Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties yesterday. Here's a look at the updated COVID-19 map. In Chautauqua County, 4 new cases were reported. One man in his 20s, another in his 40s, and a man and woman, both in their 70s. This brings the total number of confirmed cases to 81, with 19 active, 58 recoveries, and 4 prior fatalities. Meanwhile, Cattaraugus County reported 3 new cases yesterday, 2 involving a man and 1 involving a woman. The total number there is now 66, with 17 active, 46 recovered, and 3 deaths reported. Today at 3 o'clock, Chautauqua County officials are slated to hold their weekly press conference briefing. That will be streamed live right here on WNY News Now, WNYNewsNow.com/live, and on our mobile app. Well, New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo says that businesses are legally allowed to require customers to wear face masks. The governor, during his press conference yesterday, said he's signing an executive order to allow business owners to deny entry to people who aren't wearing a mask or face covering. The governor has stated in the past that he believes the numbers show masks are effective in helping slow the spread of coronavirus.
We're talking about reopening stores and places of business. We're giving the store owners the right to say, if you're not wearing a mask, you can't come in. That store owner has a right to protect themselves. That store owner has a right to protect the other patrons in that store. You don't want to wear a mask? Fine. But you don't have a right to then go into that store if that store owner doesn't want you to.
To help enforce his point, actors Rosie Perez and Chris Rock joined the governor to promote the masks and getting tested. Coming up at 1 o'clock, Governor Cuomo is scheduled to hold his press conference update, and we'll have that live right here. Well, residents in Chautauqua County will once again take to the streets of Jamestown, voicing their frustration with the New York on pause order. Garrett Kane, he's the local spokesperson for WNY, the group organizing the protest, says that New York State leaders have overstepped their power during the COVID-19 pandemic, and now's the time for the people to take back control by reopening our community. He says that medical facilities are nowhere near overwhelmed and testing's now widely available, so businesses should be allowed to reopen. Kane also notes that this is not fair to high school and college graduates that continued working during the pandemic and now don't get to receive a proper graduation. The protest will take place tomorrow at Dow Park, starting at noon. Kane asked anyone in attendance to please practice physical distancing. The most recent protest drew around 150 demonstrators. Well, funding and test frequency remains 2 of the hot topics as nursing homes work to meet the mandate from Governor Cuomo's requirement that they would test employees twice a week. Well, WNY News Now took part in a Zoom media call with Congressman Tom Reed and other government and health officials yesterday. During that call, Cayuga Medical CEO Marty Stallone told us that his initial understanding after receiving guidance was that the funding would come from insurance claims, but adds that that's now under review. Stallone also says that there are instances in which there is too much testing being done right now.
In some situations, we're over testing. I think most people agree the twice per week testing for nursing home employees is inappropriate. In other situations, testing is needed and it needs to be employed. And if there's not assured payment for that service, it won't be delivered.
Now, Reed says the governor's office was also invited to the call, but they declined to join the roundtable. A Jamestown High School junior took part in a nationwide tribute honoring fallen military heroes this week. Damon Tanner participated in Steve Hartman's Taps Across America, where trumpet and bugle players played taps at 3 p.m. on Memorial Day. Take a look. Wow, absolutely breathtaking there. Jamestown Public Schools shared the video on their Facebook page this week, and so far nearly 1,000 have tuned in, with more than 50 giving a thumbs up on the social media platform. Here's 51 thumbs up to you. Pretty cool, and a great tribute that's taking place not just here, but pretty much everywhere around the nation and worldwide. We thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in our coverage of COVID-19 and its impacts right here in our backyard. Let's say hello to Pam. Thanks so much for joining us. Good Friday to you. Hello to David, Rebecca, Butch. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to Pat, Beth, Christy, Stephanie, William, and Joseph. Hello to all of you, and we thank you for joining us on this Friday. Let's switch gears real quick and now get a check of our First Defense weather forecast, and Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joins us live with that. And Dakota, it seems like this afternoon is going to get pretty steamy and produce a couple of thunderstorms.
Yes, this afternoon is going to get active. So the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk. That is all this yellow shade for all of western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania. That is a level 2 out of 5 for this afternoon. So severe thunderstorms are likely this afternoon. As a matter of fact, the Storm Prediction Center has a current mesoscale discussion out. Now, you don't need to know what that means, but all you need to know is that the Weather Service will likely be issuing a severe thunderstorm watch likely within an hour or two. The watch issuance is currently at 60%, and anytime we see that, that generally means a watch will be issued. So a severe thunderstorm watch will likely be coming for all of western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania, probably within an hour or two. The radar shows you a few of those showers that we had this morning. Did you have that heavy downpour that we had this morning? But that's not the main batch of it. You can see another line starting to form right back here. That's also not severe. This is going to be in association with a cold front. As the cold front moves through later today, you're going to see the severe thunderstorms. In fact, the cold front is right there. That's the line of showers and storms that's basically flaring out ahead of the cold front. So as the front moves through, the showers and storms will actually start to increase this afternoon. This is another factor, the humidity. It's way up there once again today, lower to mid 60s in some spots, pretty steamy over in Erie at 67 dew point. So when these dew points are up there, that also means the atmosphere is getting kind of prime for severe weather. So 72 was the high yesterday, 62 was the low this morning, and 88 and 29 are essentially in the record books for today. So through the afternoon today, early scattered showers, they will not be severe. We'll have a little bit of a break in the afternoon, then another round of showers and storms fire out ahead of that cold front as it moves through. Some of them could be strong to severe there, especially inland away from Lake Erie, because we have a southwest wind that'll protect the Lake Erie shoreline from, I think, a lot of the severe activity. Very humid and breezy. 75 at the lakeshore with that wind, going to 83 well inland. And these storms will continue this evening, but a cooler weekend is ahead. We will talk about it all later in the show. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, we get an update on the effort to safely reopen businesses in our community. Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce CEO Todd Tranum joins us live next. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. Stay up to date on local news, weather, and sports that matter to you. Plus, subscribe to breaking news and weather alerts from the team that puts coverage first. In addition, watch news as it happens with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network. Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Phase 2 of reopening in Western New York is on tap to start next week. So what do businesses have to do to prepare? Joining us now to discuss the process is Todd Tranum, the president and CEO of the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce. Great to have you with us today, sir. Thank you.
Good to be here, Justin. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, first off, let's take a step back for a minute and talk about Phase 1, which officially kicked off earlier this month. In that phase, what types of businesses did we see open, and how was their services and the way they deliver them impacted?
So in Phase 1, we saw construction, agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting, retail, which for that period has been limited to curbside or in-store pickup, manufacturing, as well as wholesale trade. What's important for the businesses to understand is they need to go to the state's website, which is forward.ny.gov. And when they go to that site, they can look for whatever industry they're in, and there's some specific guidelines for them to follow. There's an affirmation that you've read the detailed guidelines and you're going to follow these guidelines in the workplace. And the state has also provided a basic safety plan template to help the businesses develop their own plans. From there, the businesses, must develop a plan. They do not, and I stress, they do not have to submit that plan anywhere, but they should have that plan available if for some reason any agency came in and wanted to review it. It's a plan that should be shared with the employees and complemented with some training of the employees and some documentation of that training was performed.
Now, according to local leaders, Phase 2 could start as early as next week. Today, the state, actually about a half an hour ago, earlier this morning, they released officially the guidelines that are in Phase 2. For the industries that are included, do we know who they are, and then now what they would have to do to prepare? Is it similar to Phase 1?
Correct. It's a similar process. So in Phase 2, there's offices, real estate, in-store retail. Again, there's some specific guidelines those in-store retail establishments will have to review. I would note that malls are being treated a little bit differently. If a store is in a mall and has an exterior entrance, they can be open, but the malls remain in terms of being able to function within the mall, they're not open yet. Vehicle sales, leases, rentals, that those establishments will be open. Retail rental, repair, cleaning, that sector, commercial building management, hair salons, and barber shops, which I think a lot of us are eager to get our hair trimmed.
Yeah, I feel that pretty much every day. The forward.ny gov website really does have a lot of information posted, and I know the Chamber has done a good job of relaying the information on their site as well here locally. For that form that you mentioned earlier that businesses are asked to fill out and keep a copy of and distribute to their employees, what advice do you kind of give to them if they have questions and they need some help kind of coming up with a plan, filling out the form, and then implementing it?
Yeah, so we continue to do our work, with some of our partners, Jamestown Community College, County Economic Development, the Visitors Bureau. With the information the state has put together, we continue to try to help businesses develop their templates. As you may recall, we had an effort very early on. Our collaborative was working with the businesses to get these plans in place to demonstrate how serious our businesses were about getting reopened and doing it in a safe way. At this point now, as the state releases this guidance, we're really working with the businesses to try to help them kind of fill in the gaps, get some guidance maybe from what other businesses are doing. So we still have some resources on our website at chautauquachamber.org that businesses can access. They can see some templates, some best practices that might help them think through their process of putting together a plan.
Gotcha. And I imagine if someone did have a question, they probably could reach out to the Chamber and get a little more guidance on that.
Absolutely. You can give us a call at 484-1101. We're maybe not physically in our building, but we're available to help with that and provide some guidance. I would also note that Jamestown Community College has been offering some training on reopening, where they also talk and speak to these reopening plans and considerations that businesses should take as they reopen. So I'd encourage folks to take a look at that resource. We have links from our site and go directly to the community college as well.
Gotcha. And then for those businesses who aren't part of phase 2 reopening, what would you tell them to do as we continue to move down the line and get more information from leaders in Albany?
Yeah, I would encourage them to still go to forward.ny.gov and take a look at maybe businesses that are somewhat similar to yours, and take a look at some of the guidelines and the templates. So as businesses thinking about reopening, you can start thinking through that process. The basic safety plan template is the same for every industry. It's the detailed guidelines where things are different on an industry by industry basis. So businesses should be taking a look at that information and starting to think through their reopening plans.
Now, a few weeks ago, the Chamber was handing out masks to some of those businesses in our community for their workers. How has that process been going so far? And if a business is interested, are they still able to get some of them?
Yeah, these masks were made through New York State and the State Restaurant Association. So if there's some restaurants out there who maybe are in need, they gave us an extra supply of them, so we have more available. We've put hundreds and hundreds of them out into the community already, but we do have some available. So if there were some restaurants that we didn't catch, in that first wave of distributing these that are looking for masks, we have some available.
Now, for those businesses who plan to reopen, hopefully as soon as next Tuesday, I know I actually already have a hair appointment scheduled for Tuesday afternoon, hoping we'll get the official green light here soon. What would be the best way for them to reach out to their regular customers and assure them that they will be offering a safe environment?
Yeah, this is a opportunity within the marketing that these businesses are doing to help assure the consumer that their place of business is safe, and they got to think in those terms as part of their marketing, whether it's as you're setting up appointments, reaffirming to the consumer the safety precautions you're taking, and obviously encouraging them as well to take the necessary safety precautions, or if it's signage on site that helps demonstrate what you are doing to keep your facility clean and safe. Those are things businesses need to consider as we reopen. We want to make sure we assure the consumer that they're safe, but we also want to encourage the consumer, because our consumers are part of this effort, and we can't forget that. And in terms of continuing this process of flattening the curve, we need to continue to be diligent, continue to be safe, continue to follow these protocols so we can keep our economy open.
Yeah. And finally, do you have any general advice or maybe a message that you want to not just tell the business community, but shoppers and patrons in general?
Yes, continue to be diligent. This has not left us. The coronavirus is still here. We have not figured out exactly a way to eliminate it, and it's going to be a while, probably a long while before we have a vaccination. So we've got to continue to be of that mindset that we need to protect our loved ones, protect each other, protect the community, protect the employees within these businesses and the businesses themselves. We're all in this together, and we need to just continue to be diligent and realize that we still have a ways to go.
And you're absolutely right about that, because we've seen whether it be patrons helping businesses by keeping them going, by getting takeout and shopping local, or even businesses helping businesses with free services and signage and things like that. So it's really great to see. And I think, Todd, it's just a testament to our community that we're all in this together. Thank you so much for joining us today. Great conversation. We love having you here.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Justin. Have a great weekend.
You too. Now let's get a check of our weather forecast with Dakota.
Well, let's give you a live look coming from the DoubleTree Hotel in downtown Jamestown. You can see the clouds have started to break apart a little bit, and that might fuel some of the thunderstorm activity later on this afternoon. 74 is our current temperature as of noon hour. We have a southwest wind of 15 with a wind gust of 20, but that dew point temperature, it's up there in the mid-60s today. And again, when we see dew point temperatures in the 60s, well, I would say generally mid-60s, that generally means the atmosphere is going to be packing some heat. So the muggy meter, it's shot up to the muggy category today. 65 to 70 degrees will be the dew point temperatures today. But look at what happens tomorrow. Right down the scale it goes, and refreshing air comes our way for the weekend, and it's going to stay that way through at least early next week. And you can see it here on the forecast temperatures. Look at this. We go from 78 today down to 63 tomorrow, a struggling 59 on Sunday. That is refreshing air. We start June cool, and look at Tuesday at 66. Now let's get into the story of today, which is the severe weather threat. NOAA Storm Prediction Center has placed all of Western New York and Northwestern Pennsylvania under a standard slight risk. That is a level 2 out of 5 for this afternoon. And so let's talk about this here. So it looks like the main threat here, or at least the main timing here, is going to likely start around 3 o'clock. Now understand, this could start a little bit earlier, it could start a little bit later, but our estimated start time is around 3 o'clock. It'll likely, all these storms will likely exit the area around 6 or 7 o'clock. Strong damaging wind gusts will still be our main threat. Heavy rainfall and some large hail definitely could be possible. And we do have to introduce the chance for a small isolated tornado, but the risk of that is small, but it's not zero, so it is worth mentioning. So let's show you what's going on here on the radar. There's a band of showers and storms starting to come on through. These are mainly gully washers. These are not severe, and this is actually moving to the northeast. So far, no severe activity, but that will be changing. Here it is on FutureScan. You can see the model paints it very clearly for you. This is as the cold front is moving through. So as that cold front moves through around 3 o'clock this afternoon, showers and thunderstorms will be along with that. Some of those could be strong to severe, again, with gusty winds, heavy rain, maybe some large hail at times. That'll continue hightailing out to the east. Then that clears out for tonight. Now tomorrow we have up the rain chances slightly a little bit for tomorrow, about a 30 to 40% chance of a scattered shower tomorrow. Otherwise tomorrow should be partly sunny with actually highs down into the 60s and again, as you just seen, with a lot more refreshing air. Now here's the storm potential product that comes off the in-house computer model, and what we look for are these darker colors. Where you see that, the better chance for thunderstorm development will be. And again, the better chance for this is going to be off to the east, away from the Lake Erie shoreline. We have a southwest wind today, so as that wind comes across Lake Erie, that creates what's called a lake shadow, and that often protects the immediate Lake Erie shoreline from thunderstorms. So as you get near the Lake Erie shoreline, it'll be cooler today. As you work inland, temperatures will spike up to possibly near 80, so that'll continue to fuel thunderstorm development as we go through the afternoon. The next 7 days of your life on planet Earth are on the screen. 63 tomorrow, 59 on Sunday. How is that? We just cool it right down. And then the cool air continues until early next week, pretty much throughout much of next week. But Justin, signs point to June likely being hot and muggy.
All right, Dakota, break the pools out if they still install those, and get the ACs because it sounds like we'll need it. Thank you, sir. Well, what was supposed to be a historic day has turned into a bit of a disappointment. The first ever manned SpaceX flight has now been postponed until this weekend, but it gives us all another chance to enjoy the launch into space. Daryl Forges explains more from the Space Coast of Florida.
History has officially been put on hold. The first ever manned SpaceX launch has been postponed to Saturday, May 30th, due to rounds of storms sweeping through the Cape Canaveral area. President Trump, First Lady Melania, and Vice President Pence were there, hoping and bracing for takeoff.
This is something the First Lady and I looked very much forward to seeing.
If the launch happens this weekend, it will be the first time in almost a decade that 2 American astronauts will launch into space from U.S. soil, and the first time ever that a commercial company will carry humans into orbit. The 2 astronauts at the helm, Colonel Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley. Their destination, the International Space Station.
We've longed to be a part of a test mission, a test space flight, and Doug and I are lucky enough to get that opportunity.
NASA partnered with Elon Musk's privately owned company to build and design the spacecraft. And while excitement has been put on hold, it's still brewing for the big day, and the pandemic's impact is being felt.
COVID did drive some changes in how we were conducting our operations and preparing for this mission. We've been tested at least twice so far, and rumor has it we might be tested again before we go.
Even with the impact of COVID-19, this space team is determined to launch themselves into the history books.
Where there's a will, there's a way, and there's been will to make this happen, and we're just proud to be a part of it.
In Titusville, Florida, I'm Daryl Forges.
All right, Daryl, thank you for your reporting. The launch will be broadcast right here on WNY News Now, Saturday starting at 3 o'clock. It's expected to take off at 3:22. We hope to see you tune in. Certainly will be really cool, and I got a special place in my heart for the Space Coast of Florida. My grandparents generally spend their winters down there, and it's absolutely beautiful. And if you're a big weather nerd like myself, then and space nerd like myself, then you'll certainly get involved in that. Hopefully everybody is having a good day, and we thank you so much for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in our coverage of COVID-19. We want to take another live look outside before we let you go, because this afternoon we could have a good amount of a severe thunderstorm threat. Of course, Dakota Hunter and the weather team will be providing updates throughout the afternoon, and they'll be keeping us in the know in regards to that in case any of that certainly does back out or create some severe storms. I want to answer Pat's question real quick. Yes, Pat, we did have a few new cases reported yesterday. We covered that at the top of the broadcast. As soon as we're done with the cast, it'll loop over for you so you can watch it again live now and on demand in just a few moments. That's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We remind you, coming up in just 30 minutes, New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo expected to hold his daily press briefing. You can watch that live here. And then 3 o'clock, local officials will be providing their weekly update. We'll be asking them about specifics of when we'll see Phase 2 reopening. It could start as soon as Tuesday. Be sure to tune in live at 3. We'll have live coverage right here on WNYNewsNow.com. Have a great weekend.